Have you ever noticed that some people seem to build lasting wealth while others work just as hard and never get ahead? They earn more, they hustle more, they chase every opportunity. Yet money somehow slips through their fingers. What if the biggest financial breakthrough isn't found in a new investment strategy or another side hustle? What if one of the most overlooked principles of financial multiplication has been hiding in Scripture all along? By the end of this video, you'll understand why Jesus spoke so often about money. You'll discover the biblical principle that many people overlook when they think about wealth. And you'll see how this timeless wisdom can completely change the way you approach earning, saving, investing, giving, and building a future. Money is one of the biggest sources of stress in modern life. People worry about paying bills. They worry about inflation. They worry about retirement. They worry about whether they'll ever have enough. The natural response is to chase more income. But Jesus repeatedly pointed people toward something deeper than income. He often addressed the condition of the heart before the size of the bank account. That doesn't mean money is unimportant. It means the way we handle money reveals what we truly trust. One of the clearest examples appears in the parable of the talents. A master entrusted different amounts of resources to his servants before leaving on a journey. When he returned, the servants who had managed those resources faithfully had multiplied what they received. The servant who buried his talent out of fear did not. The point of the parable reaches beyond finance, but it certainly includes the principle of stewardship. Throughout Scripture, faithful management is consistently valued. Multiplication followed responsibility, not entitlement. Before expecting increase, ask yourself a simple question. Am I managing well what I already have? Think about someone earning $50,000 a year who spends $55,000. Then compare that with someone earning less but living below their means, learning new skills, avoiding unnecessary debt, and investing consistently over time. The second person may appear to move slower, but year after year their financial foundation becomes stronger. Financial multiplication often begins with faithful stewardship long before anyone notices the results. That may not sound exciting, but lasting wealth rarely grows through shortcuts. It usually grows through consistent wisdom. But this isn't the most overlooked principle. Another pattern appears throughout Scripture. Generosity is never presented as a guarantee of instant riches. Yet generous people are consistently portrayed as people who live with open hands instead of clenched fists. Jesus taught that giving reflects trust in God rather than fear of losing everything. Proverbs repeatedly connects generosity with flourishing, while warning that greed ultimately consumes the greedy. This isn't a formula. It is a pattern of wisdom that has shaped countless lives. Imagine two business owners. One sees every employee as an expense to minimize. The other treats people with honesty, pays fairly, keeps promises, and builds trust over many years. The second owner may sacrifice larger profits in the short term, but earns something even more valuable: reputation, loyalty, referrals, opportunities that money alone cannot buy. Generosity is often misunderstood as simply giving money away. In reality, it includes treating people with integrity, sharing knowledge, creating value, and serving others well. Those habits often produce opportunities that never appear on a spreadsheet. But there is another detail that changes everything. Jesus warned repeatedly about the danger of serving money instead of using money. He said no one can serve both God and wealth. Notice what he did not say. He did not teach that money itself is evil. Instead, he warned against allowing money to become a master. That distinction matters. Money makes a wonderful tool. It becomes destructive when it becomes an identity. Many people believe financial multiplication starts by finding the perfect investment. Scripture points somewhere else first. It points toward mastering desires. Someone who cannot control spending will struggle no matter how much income arrives. Someone who constantly compares themselves to others will never feel wealthy because comparison always creates another finish line. Financial freedom begins long before financial abundance. It begins when your decisions are no longer controlled by fear, envy, or endless consumption. Consider how many people receive raises yet feel just as broke a year later. Lifestyle expands to consume every increase. More income becomes more payments, more subscriptions, more debt, more pressure. Without wisdom, higher income simply creates a more expensive version of the same financial problems. That's why financial multiplication starts inside before it becomes visible outside. But here's the principle many people never connect. Jesus constantly emphasized producing fruit. Healthy trees bear healthy fruit. Faithful servants produce results. Seeds grow over time. Vineyards require patience. Agriculture was one of his favorite ways to explain spiritual reality because growth rarely happens overnight. The same patience often applies to finances. Compounding works quietly. Skills develop gradually. Businesses mature slowly. Investments grow over decades rather than days. Modern culture celebrates overnight success. Scripture repeatedly celebrates faithful endurance. Think about someone who reads every financial headline, jumps between investment trends, and constantly chases the next big opportunity. Compare that with someone who spends years developing valuable skills, saves consistently, invests wisely, avoids unnecessary debt, and keeps learning. One is chasing excitement. The other is building fruit. Financial multiplication often looks ordinary while it's happening. Only years later does everyone call it success. Now let me share a story that illustrates this principle. A young contractor started his business with almost nothing beyond a used truck and a handful of tools. Every project mattered. Instead of spending every dollar he earned, he upgraded equipment slowly, kept an emergency fund, paid suppliers on time, treated customers honestly, and never promised work he couldn't deliver. Friends laughed because he wasn't buying luxury cars or showing off online. 10 years later, those same habits had built a thriving company with loyal employees and steady referrals. When people asked about his success, they wanted the secret investment or marketing trick. There wasn't one. He simply practiced stewardship, integrity, patience, and service year after year. Those biblical principles didn't guarantee success, but they shaped the kind of decisions that made sustainable growth possible. Maybe that's the hidden lesson many people miss when they search Scripture for financial multiplication. The greatest multiplication often begins long before money multiplies. It begins when character multiplies, wisdom multiplies, discipline multiplies, trust multiplies, relationships multiply. Those are the foundations upon which lasting wealth is far more likely to grow. So if you're praying for financial breakthrough, don't only ask for more resources. Ask for greater wisdom to manage what you already have. Ask for the discipline to make consistent decisions. Ask for the courage to act with integrity even when shortcuts seem easier. Throughout Scripture, those qualities repeatedly accompany faithful stewardship. As you think about your own financial journey, ask yourself this: which principle is hardest for you right now? Faithful stewardship, patience, generosity, or refusing to let money become your master? I'd genuinely love to hear your answer in the comments, because that conversation may encourage someone else who is walking the same path.